family law expert on the Ask the Expert show. Attorney Tina Lewert is a board-certified specialist in marital and family law. Attorney Lewert is committed to obtaining the best resolution for your divorce or other family law case by consistently providing skilled representation, expert legal advice, and personal attention. Attorney Lewert has developed an excellent reputation for providing effective divorce and family law representation in Boca Raton and the surrounding communities. Lewert Law Offices offers legal advice and representation in a wide range of family law matters, including divorce, child custody, time sharing and visitation, child support, alimony, complex asset distribution, post-judgment modifications, and paternity actions. For expert representation in all aspects of divorce and family law, contact Attorney Tina Lewert today at 561-544-6861 or visit www.lewertlaw.com. The law firm of attorney Ed Shahady thanks the Ask the Experts show for selecting the firm as one of the finest bankruptcy firms in Palm Beach and Broward County. When it comes to filing Chapter 7 or 13, you should contact the offices of attorney Ed Shahady to handle filing your bankruptcy. Why should you call him when considering Chapter 13 or Chapter 7 bankruptcy? At the law offices of Ed Shahady, you receive personal, direct service from Broward County Attorney Edward Shahady. You are not handed off to junior staff under the supervision of an attorney like large firms. Edward Shahady will personally help you through the complicated bankruptcy process. They are committed to taking a full-service, aggressive, and innovative approach to each client's unique personal and business needs, and are prepared to help stop embarrassing creditor harassment the day you hire their firm. Call them today for a free bankruptcy attorney consultation. Evening and weekend appointments and low-down easy payment plans are available upon request. Call 954-442-1000.
Hey, and we are back. You know what? I got to tell you, this is the easiest show that I do once a month. I don't even need any notes for it. It's so easy. Let me introduce you to our expert, our guest. See, he's not allowed to say expert, but I am, though. Ed Shahady, Shahady Law, Bankruptcy.
That's right. How you doing?
That's what you do, bro.
That's what I do.
And this man is busy. So you know what that means? He does a good job for his clients. So first tell people, because we got new listeners every week join us, tell people a little bit about your background.
Well, I've been an attorney for, it'll be, I guess, 26 years coming up this fall. And I started out practicing as a prosecutor when I first got out of law school, and then started doing some real estate and commercial litigation, and moved to Florida 10 years ago when the real estate market collapsed, so to speak.
But you didn't go into criminal law?
No, I did a little bit of that, but... you know, kind of went with the real estate and the commercial litigation. That was what appealed to me more. And then, yeah, moved here 10 years ago, did foreclosures, worked for the banks for 4 years, and then went back on my own 7 years ago, and doing foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. And
so you've been on the other side, people,
yes,
when the banks are doing loan modifications.
Absolutely.
So you know both sides.
I sure do.
So I
Absolutely.
promise you we're going to get into that in the second half. First half of the show, we're going to talk about Chapter 13 and Chapter 7. First of all, where's your office at?
Well, I have two offices, both in Fort Lauderdale. One's right off the interstate, right near 595 and 95, that exit there. And then I have one downtown. My main office is downtown Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you practice in Palm Beach? Because we have a lot of Palm Beach people that
listen
to the show.
Yep, I sure do. And I have arrangements with colleagues in here in Boca Raton. I've got a office I can meet clients at there for Palm Beach as well. And I also do Miami-Dade.
You might as well just have an office at the courthouse.
Well, yeah.
Because you're there a lot.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
And you have to go. You can't, when it comes to bankruptcy, you can't negotiate it from your office. You got to physically be there.
You got to be there, absolutely. Yep.
Okay, so what's going on? I'm hearing more and more people who are declaring bankruptcy. Is it the economy? I mean, you talk to your clients. What's going on out there?
Well, I'm getting busier. I'm not sure if it's an economy thing. I'm not quite sure what it is, but my practice has been picking up just the last 2 2 or 3 months. So I'm not quite sure what it is, but I think that there's a lot of people that are there's different reasons why people do the bankruptcy, but everyone has a different story, but it just kind of depends.
You've heard a lot of stories. So I want people, and listen, you might not need a bankruptcy attorney, but you might have a family member or a friend. And you know what? I got to tell you, because I actually went through Google when we wanted to get a bankruptcy attorney on here. There must have been 25 pages of bankruptcy attorneys on the search engine. Now, a person going to Google to find an attorney, I understand why you do it, but why do that when we have the best here, okay? So you don't even have to Google. We have Ed Shahady here. Let's explain to people first, what is Chapter 7?
Well, Chapter 7 is really a straight liquidation bankruptcy. That's where if your income is below the average income for the county, which typically, if your income before taxes is below around $45,000 a year, you qualify income-wise. And then, depending on your assets, if most people that do bankruptcy don't have a lot of assets. So if you don't have a whole lot and your income's at or below the median for your county, then you can file Chapter 7, and you'll basically walk away from all your unsecured debts. That means debts that don't have any collateral behind them. You can also walk away from your secured debts, meaning debts that have collateral, but you can't keep the collateral. I'm surprised how often people get confused by that. In other words, if you owe money on a car, you file bankruptcy, you don't owe any more money on that car. But if you want to keep the car, you got to keep paying the money.
Right.
So you can't have it both ways. So
okay.
And so that's the Chapter 7. You basically, it's really simple, it's really straightforward, and as long as you qualify income-wise and asset-wise, if you don't make a whole lot of money, and if you don't have that many assets, let's say any more than a couple $1,000s worth of stuff, then you qualify for the Chapter 7, and you walk away from your debts.
Is Palm Beach County and Broward, are they close to how much you have to make?
Yeah, they're real close.
Okay.
Yeah, they're real close. Yeah, Broward, Palm Beach is a little bit higher. Palm Beach County is a little bit higher, but not a whole lot. Yeah.
Okay, so that's Chapter 7. Now it's Chapter 13.
So Chapter 13, if your income's too high, if you make at or above the median income for your area, you have to do a 13, even if you have no other assets or anything else. A lot of people qualify for the 7, except on the income part. Then you have to do the 13. 13 is real similar. The difference is, in a 13, is that your unsecured creditors, you got to pay them a little something, basically. It's a minimum. And the other thing about a 13 is you have a payment plan. So
who decides that, though?
Well,
because if I'm fixing it, I'm going to have as low as I can.
Well, no, there's a formula, yeah, and it's based on your disposable income. So whatever your income is and whatever your expenses are, and again, your expenses, they've got to be reasonable expenses. They can't be anything, but there's formulas. So you look at your income and your expenses, and whatever's left, you pay a monthly payment to your unsecured creditors based on your disposable income, essentially. So if you
so much easier.
Well, yeah, but again, if you make a lot of money, well, not a lot, but over above the $50,000 a year, but if you have a lot of expenses, then at the end of the day, you don't have a lot of disposable income.
Right.
You have a minimum payment of $10 a month. So basically, you pay your creditors 60 months, you end up paying $600. $10 a month is the minimum payment. So
there are certain things, though, you cannot write off.
Absolutely.
Child support?
Right, correct. You
income taxes?
You cannot discharge. You can discharge income taxes. It depends on how old they are. It's got to be 3 years at least, and that's got to be from. Here's the easiest way I explain it to people. You got to give the IRS at least 3 years to try to collect the money from you, because it's not just, in other words, let's say you didn't file for a couple years, okay? Well, your taxes may have been due 3 years ago, but if you just filed this year, you can't discharge that.
Right.
So the government, the simple rule is they've got to have at least 3 years to try to collect the money.
Okay.
And, people do payment plans, whatever else. And so as far as IRS debts go, those are dischargeable. In certain cases, it gets complicated. There's also, oftentimes the IRS will file a lien, and that's a different issue. Then
Now, do you get involved in those?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
sure.
if the IRS filed a lien on you, so you get involved where you're talking to the IRS and your client doesn't have to talk to them.
Yes. It's interesting. I just was talking
You hear
with a
these
client the
ads
other day.
on TV all
yeah,
the time.
no, yeah. The thing is, absolutely, we don't. What happens is the IRS will file a proof of claim, and then we'll speak with the IRS or the attorney representing the IRS. But typically, in a Chapter 13, as I said earlier, you have a payment plan, and it's based on guidelines. So what you do is you hire an attorney, and a big part of what we do is we create a payment plan that we submit to the court for their approval. And then all your creditors have a chance to object as well. They might say, hey, you're not paying me enough under the guidelines. I deserve more, so forth and so on. The IRS will be a creditor under the payment plan. So we'll say, okay, we're going to pay the IRS this much per month based on what is owed. If you work out a reasonable agreement with the IRS as far as payment goes, then you can talk to them about satisfying the lien. So it can get a little complicated. Obviously, you want to call an attorney if you're dealing with taxes, but they are dischargeable, absolutely, after a certain period of time. And the lien also can be satisfied as part of the whole process, but it's typically done in a 13. In a Chapter 7, there's no payment plan, but you can still get your debts discharged, your IRS debts discharged in a Chapter 7. It's just there's really not a mechanism for us to talk to the IRS because there's no payment plan. We just file paperwork and you walk away from your debts. And so in order to effectuate, so to speak, the discharge of your IRS debt, you have to take affirmative steps typically to contact the IRS and talk to them about it. So we offer that. If you do a Chapter 7, it's just a little extra work. In the 13, it's already a part of the whole process, so it's a little easier.
Is there anything that you cannot write off?
You mean discharge?
Discharge?
Sure, yes. Well, any type of fraudulent, if you're, let's say someone sues you and they get a judgment against you, typically that's dischargeable. But if, let's say it's for a fraud, so you cheated somebody or you stole somebody's money, and there's no question about it, it's not disputable, the judgment says, you stole it, or for criminal restitution, that's not dischargeable. Any type of fraud, any dishonest debt that's incurred through dishonesty, sometimes there can be a dispute about that, and that's something that you have your basic bankruptcy, you set up your payment plan, but there can also be what's called an adversary proceeding, which is a case within a case where you might dispute just that very fact, whether or not the debt that's trying to be discharged, whether it was created through a dishonest act or improper act. Another thing, a huge one that's not dischargeable is school loans. Now, educational loans are dischargeable under very specific circumstances, and you have to show hardship, and it's pretty complicated.
Government always wants their money.
Yeah.
They don't care about anybody else. One of the things I want to get into, because we actually had someone sent us on our Facebook, there's people, remember there used to be a stigma about filing for bankruptcy, like you were some lowlife? A long time ago it was. You did not want to admit that you filed bankruptcy. Heck, our own president filed bankruptcy.
Yeah, a few times. Well, he makes it clear that it wasn't personal, it was business. So, there is a difference. I don't know if it's a distinction without a difference or not, but President Trump is clear on that.
It's no longer taboo. It doesn't make you a bad person to declare bankruptcy.
The amazing thing, it happens over and over, is there is a moral, people feel, I get it all the time. They feel like there's a moral obligation, and I guess there is, but they feel guilty. They feel guilty. Literally, they sit there and they say, I want to do this, but I feel so bad. And I'm like, well, let me ask you a question. What are you paying on your interest? What's your credit card? Oh, 26, 29%. Come on, do you feel that bad?
Yeah.
I said, look, it's not a big deal. Certainly, I've yet to see a creditor, walk into court and claim any moral or anything else. It's all business. It's all just
It's
the
funny
cost of
you
doing
said
business.
that, because about 12 years ago, I had to file for bankruptcy, and I just said, God, I can't do this. And I actually walked away from it. I said, I can't do this.
Okay.
I got to set up a payment. So I know what that feels like. I felt like I got to get in. But when you said about 26%, It's like,
Yeah,
wait a minute, who's stealing from who?
Right, and plus, also, when I tell people, sometimes, well, I really want to pay this particular creditor. You can pay anybody you want after you file. You have to treat all your creditors the same before you file. You can't, just pay Uncle Fred and nobody else, right? But, and if you do that, that's called a preferential payment, and that can be reversed sometimes. But after you file the bankruptcy, you can make any deal you want. So if somebody you want to pay and so if you feel a moral obligation,
you got
by
to
all
list
means.
all your debt, right, for the bankruptcy courts.
Yep. And
what if you forget something and you realize that a year down the road, how did I ever forget about this?
That's a great question.
Can
First
you
of
go
all,
back in?
Yeah, well, we take steps to we take some steps to make sure that doesn't happen, but it does. I mean, what we do is we run a credit report and we download all the creditors into a matrix. We have you review it, but yes, sometimes people do miss stuff. It's not that big of a deal. Typically, if you in most cases, if you file a bankruptcy and the debt that you missed is a debt that would have been discharged anyways,
right, yes,
it's typically not an issue. However, sometimes we have to put it to bed. Sometimes there's some dispute. All you have to do is reopen the case and spend a little bit of money, and then you can deal with that debt and get it discharged.
Do you have to wait as long as you do from the original? Because I heard it takes a couple months for it to be your bankruptcy to be discharged.
No, it's just well, typically when you file a bankruptcy, typically you get a discharge within about a 90 to 120 days on a Chapter 7. Okay. On a Chapter 13, when you do the payment plan, you get a discharge once you make all the payments in the plan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you have to go making all your payments.
Right.
Before it's
and
actually...
in many cases, you can pay it off early, if you have the money or whatever. But when it comes to your credit report, how long before it comes off your credit report, that's a big issue, too, with people. It's based on when you file, not on when you get a discharge. So a 7 stays on there for 10 years.
Okay.
And a 13 stays on there for 7 years. But it's from when you file, not from when you're discharged. So in other words, if you do a Chapter 13 and you can do 3 to 5, you can do 36, 48, or 60 months of payments. But let's say you file a 13 today and you make your payments for 5 years. It's not an additional 7 years after that.
Okay.
It's a total of 7 years from when you file.
Well, we're going to go to break right now. Give everybody your phone number.
Yep, it's real simple, 954-442-1000. Real easy.
We're here with Ed Shahady. He does bankruptcy law, and we're going to go to break, and when we come back, I've got a ton more questions to ask you.
The law firm of attorney Ed Shahady thanks the Ask the Experts show for selecting the firm as one of the finest bankruptcy firms in Palm Beach and Broward County. When it comes to filing Chapter 7 or 13, you should contact the offices of attorney Ed Shahady to handle filing your bankruptcy. Why should you call him when considering Chapter 13 or Chapter 7 bankruptcy? At the law offices of Ed Shahady, you receive personal, direct service from Broward County Attorney Edward Shahady. You are not handed off to junior staff under the supervision of an attorney like large firms. Edward Shahady will personally help you through the complicated bankruptcy process. They are committed to taking a full-service, aggressive, and innovative approach to each client's unique personal and business needs, and are prepared to help stop embarrassing creditor harassment the day you hire their firm. Call them today for a free bankruptcy attorney consultation. Evening and weekend appointments and low-down easy payment plans are available upon request. Call 954-442-1000.
Hey, we are back. We're here with attorney Ed Shahady. He practices out of his Fort Lauderdale office, but he also practices in the Palm Beach County Courthouse as well as the Broward Courthouse. Do you do much in Dade?
I do some down there, yeah, I sure do.
Okay.
Maybe about 10% of
Okay.
business comes out of there. Yeah.
But most of our clients, our listeners, are north of Broward. What happens, what if someone is up north, some of these, past Palm Beach? Do you work in the courts there, the bankruptcy courts there?
Sure. Actually, it's the Palm Beach and Broward. It's actually the same trustee. So it's I work there quite a bit. Probably about 30% of my practice is in Palm Beach, and about maybe 60% is in Broward, and about, like I said, 10%.
So someone who's never been this, and they're going to sit down with you for the first time, do you charge for that?
No charge for that. No.
So they can come in, sit down, you're going to tell them what they need to bring in, and you can actually help them to decide if they want to do a 13 or a 7.
Sure.
Am I right?
Sometimes that's not up to them. I mean, they can't, like if your income's too high, you don't have a choice. But I can certainly say, hey, here's what you qualify for, and here's what it costs. And if it's a 13, give them an estimate of what they'll have to pay and how many months and that kind of thing.
It's not all your costs. There's certain court costs involved too. Is that right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So you file for them.
Yep.
They have to they have a lot of homework to do, don't they?
It's not that bad.
If they don't keep good records?
Nah, well, look, basically...
What do the courts want to see?
Yeah,
how about that?
What you need is... courts they want to see what you're making. So a couple years of tax returns.
Okay.
Pay stubs. Need a few pay stubs. And some bank statements. Whatever, if you have 2, 3 bank accounts, whatever. They want to see the bank. Right. They want to see what's coming in and what's going out. They want to see your income. As far as your debt goes... Like I said, we run a credit report, so that captures most of it.
Yeah. That's your report.
Right.
Okay.
So, but again, there's other debts that won't show up on there, but people know those typically. Hospital bills, although those show up on credit reports, they're not specifically delineated. But and judgments, if somebody sued you, it may or may not be on the credit report yet. But yeah. So we sit down, go through it all, and I give them an idea of what's dischargeable, and most people, what's it going to cost me. And, what's it going to cost me today and down the road? And, will you do a payment plan, that kind of thing?
I would think a lot of people would ask you about a payment plan because apparently they're struggling. Have you seen clients come in that you go, don't file not for this amount of money?
Well, oh, yeah, if it's not a whole lot of money, it's not worth it. I mean, anything. Well, again, it depends, though. You'd be surprised, I mean, you probably want to be at least at around $10,000 in debts before you did it. But I've done it for people with less. If they're on a fixed income, Social Security, and they just can't pay, then we do it. The payment plans we do, Chapter 13's really good because there's already a payment plan in it to pay your creditors. So I can also put my fee in there. Chapter 7, I do.
You got to wait along with all the other creditors, though.
Yeah. Right, and sometimes, I can't always do it. Well, I'm not saying I can't. I choose not to. Sometimes people, there's something, an important issue, doesn't come up often, but it actually did just a couple of days ago. A young lady called me. There's called feasibility. Feasibility is how likely is it that you can even make these payments?
Oh.
She called me. She hasn't made payments. She's in foreclosure. She owes about $100,000 in past due payments on her house, and her regular payment is, long story short, when I did the calculation for her, I said, your payment's going to be really high. In fact, her monthly payment that I calculated was more than her income.
Wow.
So I said, that's never going to work.
No.
I mean, we could try it, but how are you going to? She says, well, I got this job, I got this. I said, yeah, you got all this stuff coming, but it's not here now. So in that kind of a situation, I can't do the payment plan because she's not going to make the payments,
right.
So, but that's rare. I mean, I work with clients, and sometimes if they don't have money to, I just need the.
What do the courts do if you can't make a payment on a 13?
They dismiss the case.
They do.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's why, that's why
you've got 2 weeks, or are they lenient at all?
No, they're not lenient.
So you've got to make those payments.
You got to make it. Maybe a few days. Yeah, it's not like, no, they don't mess around. No,
okay.
You got to make the payment. You got to make it on time, especially in the beginning because your plan hasn't yet been confirmed. And so what happens is we go every month to a confirmation hearing on the plan. And that's when your creditors have an opportunity to object to the plan. And also what's really important in the Chapter 13 is there's someone called a trustee. The trustee is an attorney appointed by the court to look over your filings and make sure everything's in accordance with the statutes and the rules and the way the trustee expects it to be done. So a confirmation hearing, every month we go to those. And typically, there's 3 or 4. You go 3 or 4 times before the plan is actually confirmed.
Okay.
Things come up, there's issues, the trustee has objections, the different creditors have objections. Once it's finally confirmed, then it's not quite as bad if you're a few days late. But prior to confirmation, when it hasn't been confirmed, I tell people you got to pay right on time. Absolutely.
Well, this is like the fastest 30 minutes ever.
I'll tell you.
It does go by fast, but Ed's going to be back again next month. And next month, we're going to start opening up the phone lines. We'll let people call in, ask questions next month. Give everybody your phone number again and your website address.
Yep. It's phone numbers, once again, real simple, 954-442-1000, 954-442-1000. Website is shahady-law.com. That's S. Sam, H. Henry, A. Apple, H. Henry, A. Apple, D. Delta, Y. Then it's a hyphen or a dash, and then L-A-W. Shahady-law.com.
I love doing this show with you, brother.
All right.
Anyhow, we'll be back again next week with more Ask the Experts. Stay dry. It's going to be raining a lot this weekend. Everybody have a great week. Peace and love. We're out.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Experts show. Tune in while some of the top local experts in their field from Broward and Palm Beach counties educate you in the areas of law, health, financial, and home improvement. You can also call our offices at 888-574-6999 to become an expert on our show. The opinions